Will Max Verstappen be able to beat the record for ending out the season as champion with the most amount of races to go? Now, that is held by Michael Schumacher at 6 races in 2002 to go. He captured it in France and was world champion with 6 races to go. Now, if we look at the math and the times table of what has to happen, right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 Grand Prix left, right? For him to at least equal the record, he would have to win the championship in 4 Grand Prix at the Japanese Grand Prix. The only problem is with the point system now, you have 8 points for first place at the sprint races, and there's 3 of those left. There's 1 in Qatar, 1 in Austin, and 1 in Brazil. So you have to think about it. Abu Dhabi, Las Vegas, Brazil, Mexico, that represents 100. 125 is USA. Now, he currently leads the championship to Sergio Perez at 125. But to at least tie Michael's record, he'd have to be up not only 150 if you add Qatar, so that'd be Qatar, USA, Mexico, Brazil, Las Vegas, Abu Dhabi. 3 of those have an 8-point best system, so you're talking about 24 on top of the 150, so that would be 174, and on top of that, you would need 6 more points for each one of those fastest laps at the Grand Prix, so 180 points. He's currently up 125. He'll have to gain in the next 4 Grand Prix on Sergio Perez a 55-point greater than points gain. Now, Perez just needs to stay up in the 3rd and 2nd place. If he averages a 4th position, that would be only 12 points a race. That'd be, 48 to Max's, let's say, 100, 104 possibly. That would just allow Max to get it. So he needs Sergio Perez to perform badly because he has a 40-point gap to Alonso, and he would possibly be able to do this. He also needs to get the fastest laps to increase his chance. But does this put him as one of the greatest of all time if he can just manage to totally dominate this? I mean, Michael, when he won that record, you've got to remember, Rubens Barrichello had 3 retirements because of issues right at the beginning of the season. And then on top of it, he wasn't able to start 2 Grand Prix because of gearbox failures and other mechanical issues where you're showing up to start the race and you can't even race. On top of it, the McLaren with Juan Pablo Montoya had multiple incidents. I mean, if it wasn't screwing over Kimi and a tire coming off or the engine blowing up, there's so many seasons that Michael Schumacher could have been challenged for the championship. The McLaren was just so unreliable. They would have such a fast car, such fast drivers, and it would always fuck up because of some issue. It was like the Red Bulls at the start of last season, or what happened to Ferrari after they had that huge lead. It was just a total joke. So, I do believe Max could potentially do this. We need Sergio Perez to mentally collapse again, which is possible because that's always a priority. We also need, if Perez does have a collapse, we need Alonso and Hamilton to stay at bay. Alonso, it seems possible because the Aston Martin's been so shitty, but if Hamilton's able to get up into that 2nd and 3rd position, that could also throw some issues into this. But Max, on that 8 Grand Prix in a row, he constantly should be going for fastest lap towards the end if he can keep it. It just seems all the more likely that Max Verstappen will actually possibly win this record. So let's do the exact point system he needs to win this record. Okay, he needs. The problem is not win the record; he'll tie the record. For him to beat the record and it be 7 races in a row, he would need a gap of 7 times 25 would be 140 to 7 times the 20, and then 7 times 5, 35, 175-point gap. But then you'd have 3 8-point sprint races, which would equal 24 on top of the 175 would be a 199, and then you'd need 7 fastest laps, so it would have to be a 206-point gap to win the championship. He's at 125 right now, so to Perez. So even if Perez doesn't score any points and he scores 3 first place victories over the next 3 races. That would put him at 200 plus the 3 would be 203. So he technically can't beat Michael's record. That's impossible. He can tie it if he's able to win in Japan and then have Qatar, USA, Mexico, Brazil, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi left. That would be 6 races at 125, would represent 150. Then you have to put the 8 points on top of it, 174, and then 6 1 points, 180. So he'll have to be up over Sergio Perez 180 points. He's over him 125. Like I said earlier in the video, over the 4 Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix, the Singapore Grand Prix, and the Japan Grand Prix, he has to outscore Perez by 55 points, which is possible, but he'll need Perez to probably fall out of one of the races to get that 25, and then over the next 3 races, outscore him by 30 points, which isn't that hard if Perez has a 3rd or 4th here and there. That's the only way Max Verstappen can tie Michael Schumacher's record of having 6 Grand Prix to go while becoming a champion, a 3rd-time champion for Red Bull. That would be incredible. We'll have to see. I think he has a shot at tying it. It's mathematically impossible that he can beat it at this point, but with the way Perez is being very consistent, I think sooner or later you probably realize that he most likely will win it at Austin, maybe Mexico if something happens to him, a DNF or some sort of situation. But it'll be very easy for him to claim it at the Austin Grand Prix in Texas. So we'll have to see. If you liked the video, if you liked the math, if you liked everything we're doing here, just please subscribe and like the video. And please leave a comment below. Do you think he'll tie the record? Do you think it will take even longer? Do you think something will eventually happen to Red Bull? Or do you think this streak is just going to go from this season to the next one? Thank you very much.